Those of you that follow me on Facebook probably know that my Jaguar has had a few teething problems in the last few months. This is a 2005 Jaguar Super V8, and because of some of the problems that I've been having with the car, I decided to try and find a different OBD-II diagnostic tool. The tool we'll be talking about today is this BlueDriver Bluetooth-linked OBD-II diagnostic tool. But before we dive right into this, let's talk about OBD-II itself. Before OBD-II existed, manufacturers used different methods of diagnosing their vehicles via electronic diagnostic tools. And OBD-II was an attempt to try and standardize at least some of that. OBD-II has been around since 1996, and all vehicles sold in the United States since that date should be fully OBD-II compliant. Now, the important thing to know is that OBD-II allows for manufacturer-specific diagnostic codes in addition to the generic diagnostic codes. So while this can read all the generic diagnostic codes for pretty much every vehicle sold in the United States since 1996, it will not necessarily read manufacturer-specific diagnostic codes. Let's go ahead and see what it will find for me on my Jag. The first thing I'm going to do is download the BlueDriver app right here to my iPad. Now, there is a BlueDriver app available for both iPhone, the iPad, and Android devices. Because of some of the features that this little device brings to us, I decided to actually install it on my iPad because we get more screen real estate than on my iPhone. According to the instruction video, the next step is to actually plug in the BlueDriver to my OBD-II port and then pair it to the Bluetooth control screen on my iPad. So I'm going to go ahead and turn Bluetooth on. I'm going to go ahead and reach down here and plug it into the OBD-II port, which should be somewhere below my steering column. The location does vary vehicle to vehicle, so your vehicle may have your OBD-II port either here or in the glove box or in the center console. I've had cars that had it in the center console before. And now the device is plugged in, so I should be able to find it here. It does show up on my device list right there, so I should be able to pair the device. It's thinking about it. And now it shows connected. Okay, now the device is plugged in. I've turned on the car, and as you can see, something is very clearly wrong because we get the restricted performance warning right here in the instrument cluster. That can mean a variety of different things in this model Jaguar. Now we're plugged in, we're turned on, and the BlueDriver app is loaded. Let's go through the features one at a time. First, we have vehicle info down here. You'll see that it automatically knows what kind of vehicle it is. This is some of the benefit of having these internet-connected Bluetooth devices like this, rather than a dumb scan tool that doesn't know what it's connected to. So right now it says that it is a 2005 Jaguar XJ Van and Pla. Actually, it's a little bit off. This actually is a Super V8, but it's close enough. It shows you our manufacturer, production number, etc., engines, that sort of thing. A little fun fact is that it even pulls up the manufacturer fuel economy. So this thing was rated for 16 miles per gallon city, 25 highway, and 19 combined. Flashlight is somewhat self-explanatory. On the iPad, since it doesn't have an LED, it just turns the screen to white. You can also click on this MIL status, and it will tell you whether your check engine light is on or off. So right now you can see our check engine light is off. Now if we want even more detailed information on the smog check, we have a smog check specific option right here. You can click the scan button right up there to scan for our smog readiness. This is important if you have a vehicle that is, just barely able to pass the smog check. Maybe sometimes the check engine light comes on, sometimes it doesn't. You don't know exactly what's wrong. Not only can you help try and find out exactly what's going on with that, but this will also help you try and diagnose whether you can get it smog checked. Smog tests, especially in California, require that the vehicle's onboard diagnostics have actually completed. So you can't just reset all the warnings and then take it to the smog check place and have it pass. The vehicle has to be driven enough to actually have all these tests done. So you can see that we don't have any misfires, our fuel system is fine. This test is not complete on the comprehensive component test. EGR system is fine, catalyst is fine, car does not have a heated catalyst. The evaporative system test is not complete. Oxygen sensor is fine, oxygen sensor heater is okay, etc. You'll notice that we do have 2 pending trouble codes, and I kind of knew about that because we have that restricted performance warning, but I now know that this is definitely not a misfire. Mode 6 is for more advanced OBD-II diagnostics. Now, you do have to look up exactly what these Mode 6 IDs actually correspond to in the vehicle, since the system isn't aware of exactly what they mean. So we have these somewhat cryptic IDs over here. The important thing is that they're all okay. You can see the minimum, maximum, and current values for these various sensors in the vehicle. So you can see that this sensor 9E11 is within its proper range, and we can click on it and it says that it's completed and it's actually passed the test. Now again, I don't really know what that test is, but you can Google for that information for your specific vehicle if you really wanted to know more. Freeze frame allows you to get certain vehicle data displayed on the screen and freeze it. Right now we don't have any freeze frame data loaded in this particular setup here. Next, let's try reading the code, since we do know that we have codes available in this vehicle. So scanning for those codes, and it should tell us what exactly these are here. You'll notice we now have 2 pending trouble codes, and we can actually click on the codes to get more information. P1000 is actually a standard code in Jaguar letting you know that the system is ready. So it's not a true trouble code. It's sort of a system ready trouble code, if you will. But we do have this real code right here that says coolant pump A, control circuit range performance. So P2601, can look and see if that is in the database. Hopefully that is. Oh, actually it is not in the database. I do, however, know what this code P2601 is, and on my particular Jaguar, this relates to the supercharger coolant pump. The supercharger has its own coolant pump for the intercooler system, and that seems to be malfunctioning in my particular vehicle. If you want to clear the trouble code, you can actually just tap that and then clear the codes. Of course, that isn't really going to solve my problem, and the vehicle knows that even though I have cleared the trouble codes, the problem is still around. Going back to the main menu again, we have a direct access button for clear codes, and then we can go over to repair reports. This will tell you how you can try and solve a particular problem. There's a sample report here that we can see. So that's the sample vehicle, and then we can click on the sample report. And sample report was there was a pressure control solenoid malfunction, probable causes, reported fixes, and other reported fixes. Now, depending on how common your vehicle are, there's going to be more or less information like this available. The Jaguar, not as common as the Toyota Camry, which is what that sample report is for, so there's going to be less information available, unfortunately, for my problem. Lastly, down here, we'll go over to live data. We can actually click on that live button right down there, click on this gear icon, and you can actually get various live data right out of the car, and you can actually display it on the screen. There's quite a long list of live data available. Now, that list was all the live data. We can actually choose just the supported data, and that's just the data supported by the system. See, that is a much smaller list. And then we click back over to active, but there's nothing there because we haven't added it. So let's go ahead and click supported, and we'll choose a few. We'll do engine coolant temperature, and maybe intake manifold absolute pressure, engine RPM, how about intake air temperature, mass airflow rate? That's probably good enough. Let's go back and we will see that now on the list. So you can see we have engine coolant temperature 201 degrees, intake manifold pressure 11.2 inches of mercury, engine RPM 647, intake air temperature is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a supercharged vehicle, so it's really not that hot outside, but that's the intake air temperature. You can see the mass airflow rate, 0.8 pounds per minute, and the absolute throttle position is only 2.7. So if I were to actually put my foot on the accelerator pedal, you'd see how this would actually start going up. So, puts on the accelerator pedal. Now we're at 9.4%. Engine RPM has gone up. The intake air temperature has gone up. Mass airflow rate's gone up, as you would normally expect. So we can actually continue flooring the vehicle like that. And if we turn the screen over to the side like this, then you'll notice we actually get a really cool graph, which is one of the things that I liked about this particular Bluetooth sensor, is that now we have the description of what these are, sort of the key, and then we have this graph along the bottom where we can actually see what's going on. So you can actually record data as you're driving. You can choose various chart looks. You can turn those on and off. I think I actually like this particular look a little bit better. But again, you can't just sort of data log the data and then recall it later and then scroll backwards and forwards on it like you think you might be able to. Instead, you have to actually take snapshots right there and then save the image, and then you can view that later. Overall, BlueDriver worked pretty well for me. There are a wide variety of different OBD-II Bluetooth adapters on the market right now, and some of them run between $50 and maybe about $150. This is priced a little bit in the middle. It's about $99 on Amazon, which is where I found this one very easily. You can also find it on a wide variety of different online shoppers, or apparently from BlueDriver themselves directly. One of the things that I liked was the ability to log the data on the iPad. I don't think that's quite as fully flushed out as I would like. I would like more of a persistent data log so I could then go back and review some of that data, but the ability to do that is a little bit different than most of the other Bluetooth OBD-II scanners out there. Now, if you want to take things to the next level, you are going to have to spend quite a lot more than this little bauble right here. Because if you want to read the manufacturer-specific OBD-II codes that are on this Jaguar, that would include things like the blend door in your HVAC system, or the rear seat entertainment system not communicating with the fiber optic network in this car, anything beyond your basic, is the cylinder misfiring, what are these engine things going on under the hood, transmission codes, etc., you're going to need to spend quite a bit more money. How much more depends on which tool you're looking for, but they can be at least $800 or so. $800 is about the least expensive single manufacturer specific solution that I have seen. And so if you bought it just for this Jaguar, then it wouldn't be able to read the codes on my Saab that is parked right next to this car. You would have to pay more for that Saab code package as well. So again, this is a fairly good deal. I do like the data logging package, but if you need more specific information, you're going to have to spend an awful lot more. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Alex Dykes, and this has been the BlueDriver OBD-II monitor from Lemur Vehicle Systems. You can find it on Amazon, and you can find me on Facebook.com if you want to see what happens with my Jag.